Hello, hello, hello. All right, so let's see what we're going to do today. Well, I guess we're going to do a little bit of drawing. I don't know what I'm going to do. I wasn't really thinking this through. Sometimes what I do before I do work on a drawing is I'll kind of sit down and think about what areas I want to work on. But I think what I'm going to do is this area I worked on yesterday. So I'm going to move over here a little bit and kind of work in this general area and think about how I'm going to work this area as well. Well, let's do it to it, and let's select some greens and see if we can get a green color that works. So we're just going to do a little bit of marky mark and add some greens around here. Is this the green I want to use? Maybe. I'm going to need a little bit of green. It's like a lighter green. So this is like a dark green. Not really a dark green, but it's like a sap green. And this is kind of like a lighter green. And I'm just going to kind of like lighten up this area for a few minutes. Really slowly kind of blend it in. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm basically just taking this pastel and I'm kind of like rolling it. I'm drawing in like a rolling fashion where I'm just kind of drawing in small little circles. And I find for pastel drawings, what else I'm noticing is I'm distracted. I'm noticing the paper's kind of buckling, and I don't know if I should flatten it out later on. Like maybe I might take a little bit of time afterwards to kind of lay this drawing flat and reset it on the drawing board, because I'm noticing it's getting kind of bumpy. And that could be moisture, that could be just me drawing on the surface of the paper for an extended amount of time, and that's that application of pastel and just kind of moving the paper in on a small micro level, it's causing it to kind of buckle. And so I'm just going to roll or scribble subtle color in these areas that I think will be helpful. Over right here, there's I don't know if it's a green or like a blue. I might put some blue there to see what it looks like. And then I might go over it with a green of sorts. So I'm going to put some blue right here. Now, it's not this blue, but it's like a dark color. And I think if I put some blue there and then I mix it with some green, maybe I might get a color that might work. Not really. That is not what I wanted. And I'm trying to avoid using black, so we're just going to avoid that for a moment, not think about it. I'm going to not think about it and go ahead and just keep doing what I'm doing. And as I'm just kind of adding some tones in areas I think I need to add like a different green. I'm contemplating what is my next move. What do I want to approach? What do I want to do with this drawing? Because when I'm doing these drawings, I don't necessarily know the outcome, and I don't know how I want to approach it. It's not always the same each time, is what I'm trying to say. But one of the things I like to do or like to focus on is just focus on doing a little bit on the drawing at a time, and hope that my efforts will yield an outcome that I find desirable, I guess. So I think I need to put some brighter colors up here, like a brighter green. So I have this green right here. I'm going to add a little bit of, just kind of apply a little bit. And the reason why I want to apply only a little bit is because I don't want to over apply tone and have it kind of backfire. you know? I don't want it to backfire. And so I'm just adding a little bit at a time. Very slowly. Noticing maybe over here we'll add a little bit of like a gray. I don't know if it's a gray, but maybe I feel like there's a gray on this watery area. Just subtle hints of it. And oftentimes when you're messing with color, you don't necessarily know what color that is. Like you have an inclination of what it could be. And sometimes it just takes you kind of applying color in that area and seeing how it kind of reacts to the colors surrounding it. And you can make decisions on whether or not you want to use that color more often in those areas. So I think gray, there's some grays here that I can kind of put in these areas. I don't want to put it a lot. I don't want to over apply it. Because there can be this like moment in time when you're drawing and you're like, wow, this color really works in this area. Let's start putting this color everywhere. And you start putting it everywhere and you're like, you go overboard, and then you're like, that was not a good choice. I'm still on the fence what color I want to use for the bridge reflection. I don't know what I want to use. That's going to take some thinking. Like, it could be purple, it could be blue, or like a dark blue. It could be like a dark gray. Do I want to mix it with some black? You know, maybe if I use a little bit of purple, like the purple I had here, mixed with some black and some blues in this area, maybe that might be the route that I choose to go. Again, it's all very open, and no choice is wrong. You just want to make sure that it just works. I guess if that makes any sense. As long as like the value ranges are consistent and the color and blending is consistent, if your color is off, it won't really matter as much. At least that's how I feel. Or maybe I'm just trying to fill up time and filibust. But really, this is a very slow drawing. I think I was talking to a colleague, a friend, and he was asking about how my commissions were going, and I said they're going really, really slow. And and through the conversation, I kind of mentioned that I think this one in particular probably has, I think I'll be satisfied with putting 10 more hours in it. You know? I think 10 more hours will finish it. I think. And 10 hours may seem like a lot. It really isn't. It's just, so I'm going to use blue here. I'm going to jump the gun here and use blue in this area. And I can always erase it. So I'm just going to add like an undertone of blue. What we're looking for is we're looking to like just kind of move the drawing forward for better or worse. Like sometimes when we're not sure about where our drawing should be going, you know, we're not sure about it, it's always better to kind of just work on it, you know, to make marks, to do things to the drawing or any artwork really, than to like think about the next step. and I'm not saying thinking about it is a bad thing, but oftentimes we got this like this. You ever see like there's all these videos of these artists, or like the moviefication of an artist. You'll see like whenever they portray an artist making a painting or making work, it's always in the sense that they're staring at their painting and they're contemplating what they're gonna do, and then they go up there and make one mark, and then they come back and contemplate what's the next step. And I don't know if artists typically do that. If you ever watch a lot of artists on a live stream, especially like comic artists, comic artists are really good at this. They pursue their thinking on the actual drawing, and they'll draw and mark up their drawing, erase, mark up their drawing, erase, and mark up their drawing, erase, until they get it right. So what they're doing is they're getting a lot of like drawing practice on one like panel. And they're not afraid to make mistakes. No, they're not afraid to challenge themselves and to change the composition. And that's really hard. I think it's also the nature of comic media, because you don't have to worry about having eraser marks or seeing like pencil marks on your drawing, because what happens is they get inked and then they get colored over digitally, so you're not going to see the graphite marks at the final product, as the final result. So they don't have to worry about are these marks going to be present in the final piece, because it's the nature of their drawing, the nature of how they draw or how comics are made. They don't have to worry about the outcome so much, because a lot of those corrections and erase marks are going to be kind of concealed in the final piece. In drawings like this, it's kind of hard to erase and make a mark, erase and make a mark, because it's not going to be inked over. It's not going to be put on a digital uploaded and scanned digitally, and then I can't just erase all the mistakes in post. So I have to be a little bit more wary. And one of the ways that I do that is I slowly apply things, and I don't apply them in a heavy fashion. So you just got to take things slow and have kind of like a light touch, I guess. And then just take your time. If you take things slow and you don't apply your color too aggressively, you'll be fine. I'm not saying it's I'm not saying that's a perfect strategy, but it helps quite a bit. I think over here, what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to work on the sky a little bit, kind of move around and kind of let this kind of breathe for a second. And I've been noticing over here that the blue sky needs to be brighter. And so I'm going to go up on this blue sky and kind of work on that with some coffee. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the blue here. Just make it a little bit more opaque. And move in the pastel in as I said, a kind of circular fashion. Now we're going to go ahead and I think I'm going to use this blue. I'm running out of this blue. I don't know what I'm going to do once this is out. I might be in a little bit of trouble once this little piece of pastel is out. It's like there's a little bitty chunk of blue pastel. It's slightly blue. You can't tell by the video camera, the video, but like it's a very light blue. And I've been using it a lot for my sky. And I'm just doing light concentric circles here. That's all I've been doing for the most part. Light concentric circles. And it's a way to kind of like blend a lot of the colors in to the paper, and to blend the colors just very lightly. Not pressing too hard. I don't want to press too hard. That's one thing I like to stress with this is don't press too hard. Just take your time and go slow. I'm still pondering what I'm going to do with the bridge. I don't know how I want to approach it. I think what I'm going to do is later tonight is I'm going to order some materials. I need to get some erasers. Some new erasers, some specialized erasers, because there's some work I'm going to be doing later on, and yeah, I'm just going to be getting some stuff. I'm going to get some art materials that I've been pondering, practicing in. I think I need to get some watercolor brushes. I have brushes, but no brush that's like specifically for watercolor. So I might buy like a cheap watercolor set, or a cheap set of brushes that I'll use specifically for watercolor, and like that way they won't get contaminated with all my other brushes. 'Cause all my brushes, besides a scant few, the ones I haven't used yet, all my brushes have been used specifically for oil or acrylic paint and ink. So I think I want to keep my watercolor brushes separate from my oil and acrylic pieces or brushes. So that's something I've been thinking about, and I might do that tonight after all is said and done. After my live streams is done, I'm gonna go ahead and probably buy some new materials that I think I might need for the future. Anyways, just gonna work on the sky a little bit. Like over here, maybe I might want to work on the sky over this side as well. Kind of bouncing around. I know I started working here, and then I end up working in the sky, and now I'm just kind of bouncing around between working on the sky and the water reflection. All right. Now, time to go ahead and add a different blue on top of that. Just kind of working around, you know. That's all I'm doing, just taking my time. All right. I know I've been talking about this in the past, but lately I've been blending more with my finger, and that's been something that I've never really done a lot of. You know? It's never been like it's never been like one of my approaches to drawing is I've never been one to blend a lot with my finger. But it's something I've been doing more and more. And I might start pushing it more when I teach. I just never liked the idea of blending with my finger because I know in the past your fingers can like be kind of greasy, you know, and if you have dirty hands, like greasy hands, it's really difficult to blend with your finger because it kind of gunks up your paper a little bit. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and move back to over this area. Let's go over here. Let's kind of lighten this up, this little area. See what that looks like. Just very slowly, just bringing up the color. Not trying to be too aggressive with it either. It's really easy to press too hard, and I still don't want to ruin the texture of the paper. I don't want to go and make sure that the paper ends up being, I lose the texture, because then I might not be able to add new color on top of it. I'm probably wrong on that, but I feel sometimes it gets harder and harder to change colors when you over apply your pigment. All right, let's go ahead and maybe make these tones a little bit brighter. I don't know if this is even white. I think this might be an off-white, to be honest with you. I'm gonna have to go grab my white that I have, an actual official white, later on. All right, I'm gonna go kind of meander around here for a little bit, for about 5 minutes, take a little break after that. I don't know if this is the right green. It's a darker green, but it's probably not dark enough. But I'm still gonna use it, and then I can always put like a darker green on top of it to kind of knock it down a darker tone if need be. I can even consider putting some black on top of there if I want. And that might be something I do in the future. You know? You know, this whole area is really dark, and it's not. I might just have to, I don't know, play around with it. We'll see. I'm really just looking at the negative space shape. I'm looking at outside edges of my forms and just kind of sharpening them up a bit. And then I can go over them with something a little bit more precise or with a darker color if need be. I'm just making the outline, the outside contour a little bit more precise. Or a little bit more to what that's closer to what I'm seeing. If that makes any sense? Like this whole area is much darker. All right, let's go ahead and, do I have any dark, like a dark green? I think this might be my darkest green that I have available. I have a darker pastel set. Like I bought a new pastel set that are, I bought some new pastels that has a larger value, like color range, but I am worried. I don't want to open that up because I did all of my warm-up studies, all my studies of this drawing using the colors that I had available to me at that time, and I don't want to introduce new variables that in theory could make the drawing better, but I'm worried that it's going to add more time to the actual drawing. And so I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. That might change later on. I might end up being like, you know what? Let's kick these drawings up a notch. Let's go ahead and add add something. And add these new colors to the mix. Why not? Let's do it. All right, I think that's it for this live. I'm going to come back. I'm going to work on this a little bit more, but I'm going to take a break. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.